You can listen to the Canadian Gothic early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Handsome Aaron Airport. We made it to another decade of Keep Canada Weird. This is episode 180, and I like to make it special when we got the 0 at the end of our episode number. You ready to pull out all the stops this week?
Yeah, I'm certainly ready. I've got all the stops right here in a bag, and I'm going to pull them out in front of you.
As needed. Wait to the right moment and shock me.
Of
what's new
course.
with you? Anything going on down there?
Anything going on down here? I don't know. It's the usual. Just work and class and recording with you and going on walks and going to the grocery store for special drinks.
You mentioned special drinks. I have one in my hand. Not a big deal, but I do like to have what I call a comfort special drink on any number that ends with a 0. I just have an orange pico tea from McDonald's. I have a bit of a tickle in my throat. I blame it on my virus bag kids who are now back at school and bringing all these bizarre viruses home. I have just a tickle in my throat, and I find a hot tea is just like the cure for everything for me. If a hot tea doesn't do it, I need penicillin, and if that doesn't do it, then I'm updating my will.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Am I in your will or?
Absolutely. I'm leaving you my problems.
Oh, okay. I was hoping for your podcast equipment.
Maybe. Well, think about it. What do you got for a special drink?
I have a Cove soda.
Oh, good. Those are nice. What's that flavor?
It is grape or raisin, depending on what side of the can you look at. It's already open, so I can't crack it open for you because I was sipping on it while I was eating my supper tonight.
Okay.
But I saved 90% of it for recording, and I will have a sip just so that everyone can hear my reaction to how I think it tastes. Oh my. Yes.
You know, just on the topic of your drink, isn't it weird that grape in French is raisin? When you dehydrate a grape, it becomes a raisin.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that all lines up correctly? And why? Like, I just find it weird that the French word for grape is the English word for dehydrated grape.
Yeah, no, I find it weird too, but I don't know enough about language to really say much about it.
Well, I know enough about language to know that when you dry something out, you don't just use the French word for it.
Okay, well, you know more than I do.
What do French people call raisins? Because then it would be referring to a grape. See? It's like the snake that eats its own tail.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Before we get to the weird news stories that we're going to be discussing this week on Keep Canada Weird, I want to play a few voicemails related to your recent habit of banning listeners who send in voicemails that maybe you find a bit of offense in. We've received a whole bunch of voicemails about this topic, so I'm going to present a little bit of a collage. This is a bit of Mike, a bit of Mara, and a bit of Alicia weighing in on your recent bannings.
Aaron, the banning, I'm all about that. This is Mike from Utah. Feel free to ban me, but how does it work with swag pack? You get mentioned on it, you get banned from that? Just curious.
Hi, this is Mara from the States. Just want to say I fully support any bans or suspensions that Aaron might put in place. Definitely have to be careful with that kind of stuff, but if he's doing it, there's probably a reason. Honestly, since the Queen of Canada is not able to assume her duties, if Aaron wanted to become the next Supreme Ruler of Canada, and he could have quite the following. So we're on board. We support his ban, and long live King Aaron.
I don't know who people think they are when they're calling in and ripping on our guy Aaron. I did not appreciate when he was called Aaron the Contrarian. And I think that Nuisance Norm and Judgy Jeremy could probably be banned for life, and that would be okay with me.
So a mix of things to respond to there. First of all, I'd say if you send in a voicemail and it makes you mad and you ban them, the deal here is that if your voice is aired on the show, you qualify for a swag pack. Mm-hmm. So I think even in the instance of being banned, no issue there.
Yeah, unless the voicemail is extreme and we'll say a double banning needs to take place. This is only an extreme, and it hasn't happened yet, but only in extreme scenarios where somebody says something so heinous that they need to be banned from leaving voicemails and banned from receiving swag packs. But
we would still air the heinous voicemail.
Of course. The context needs to be provided for the ban.
It's transparency.
It is. Yeah. This all will be audited by the CRA at some point.
Absolutely. But Mara and Alicia and Mike, all three of them were supportive of what you've been doing. So I think, if anything, I think this is just going to be a confidence builder for you, knowing that if something happens here on Keep Canada Weird that you don't like, it's very easy for you to put a stop to it with a ban.
Anyone has the freedom to leave a voicemail. We're not going to take that away from people, but we are also going to take it away from people if they say things that we don't like.
Okay.
This does also provide more evidence to my theory that our listeners in particular, there's a certain style of individual that likes to listen to this show. And that individual has a banning fetish and they like to be banned. So we've had several voicemails since banning has begun that people have said that they not only support it, but feel free to ban them as well.
That is true.
So Mike was his name?
Yeah.
Mike, you're banned. Yeah, let's say...
Say it again for him.
Mike, you're so banned. Mike, I'm going to ban you so... let's
move on.
But I'm going to say, Mike, you're banned for three episodes worth. And then you can come back in with another voicemail asking me to ban you again.
Yeah. Mike, you still qualify for a swag pack. That wasn't too heinous. Just go to the CanadianGothic.com/contact.
Yeah.
And I'll get that out to you. Same goes to you, Mara, Alicia, and anyone else who has their voices aired on the show.
Yeah.
You will be the lucky recipient of one of the newly restocked Canadian Gothic / Keep Canada Weird swag packs. And I said you'll be lucky to get one. Let's start the episode off with a story of someone who was absolutely not lucky. But maybe they were. We'll call this the luckiest unlucky guy in Calgary takes a nap. I'm going to read this one to you. This is just like a short little story that came across my desk, but I think this is a great story to open the show with. A man is lucky to be alive after being partially buried under a heavy load of soil at a construction site in southeast Calgary on Friday afternoon. According to the Calgary Fire Department, the incident happened around 12:45 p.m. near 52nd and 202nd Ave Southeast. The man, who was not a construction worker, had wandered onto the job site and laid down to take a rest. When the crew returned from their lunch break, they didn't notice him and accidentally dumped a load of soil on top of him, partially burying him under what the fire department estimated was about a half a yard of dirt, which would weigh over 1,000 pounds. The fire department's technical rescue team responded and treated the situation as a trench collapse. It took roughly 30 minutes, but they safely extricated the man. He was then transported to Foothills Hospital as a precaution. Emergency medical services said his injuries are serious, but are not believed to be life-threatening. So when you think of that story, is this guy lucky or unlucky?
I consider him lucky. I mean, he survived death. That's
1,000 pounds of soil dumped on you. It is lucky he survived, but how unlucky is it that the spot you decide to lay down to take a nap, within 45 minutes, a truckload of soil is going to be dumped exactly there?
But I think that this person, at some point in time, was destined to have a giant pile of soil dumped on him.
Mm-hmm. How? Why?
Well, it just seems that kind of a person is just going to find themselves with soil dumped on them at some point in their life, just because of who they are.
It's a magnet for it. It's something he's been asking for, or maybe the millions of decisions, the butterfly effect of every decision he made in his life led up to the moment where he laid down in a field at a construction site, only to have 1,000 pounds of soil dumped on the poor guy.
I mean, sometimes you just have to nap. I don't fault him for that. And a big pile of dirt looks like a very comfortable place to nap, right?
Well, not under it, on it maybe. I think it's a question of lucky, unlucky, or maybe right in the middle. Like I think in that whole experience, Buddy broke even. But all that to say, that is just the short story we're gonna begin the episode with. We have a whole bunch of weird news stories to get into tonight, but we're gonna start with something that's actually very serious. It's gonna start with a serious story in the way it's manifested itself into weird Canadian news. You'll see what I mean. Over the past week, a deeply serious and horrifying crime has captured the public attention. I'm talking about the murder of American podcaster and social commentator Charlie Kirk. While this tragedy has rightfully dominated the headlines, it's also sparked some unexpected ripple effects here in Canada, north of the American border. In the next segment, after our first break, we're going to step away from the grim details of the crime itself and look at two bizarre and distinctly Canadian news stories that spun their way out of this polarizing American crime. We'll hear two weird Canadian news stories set within the world of the Charlie Kirk assassination after this short break. Handsome Aaron Airport, if you follow the news, as I know you do, the past week has been dark for a news watcher. The assassination, murder of the American commentator, podcaster Charlie Kirk has been all over the news. You cannot escape it. And as grim and dark as it is, it's even worse in this case because of the way he was killed, how public it was. It was almost impossible to not see photos and videos and all this stuff of what happened pretty much on repeat on every social media platform and everything else. Without getting deep into it, I'm sure you've also have been unable to avoid this.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's the biggest news story in the world right now.
It seems it. And it's horrific and dark and certainly not the kind of thing we'll be discussing on Keep Canada Weird. But there are some weird Canadian news stories that came out of this. I'm going to start with the first one. When American commentator Charlie Kirk was murdered at a Utah college event, the story shocked people around the world. But for one unsuspecting Canadian retiree, the shock took an altogether different and certainly more bizarre twist when a viral wave of misinformation falsely linked him to the crime. Here's the story of the Toronto senior who woke up to find that he was being accused of murdering Charlie Kirk.
Michael Mallinson went from watering his plants to receiving a flood of threatening messages on social media.
Calling me all sorts of names.
And your daughter was receiving messages as well.
Saying if Michael Mallinson is your brother or father, then this, and this is going to happen.
Following the shocking shooting in Utah, this fake Fox News account on X posted the Charlie Kirk shooter confirmed to be Michael Mallinson with a photo of the Torontonian.
Michael, you see your name and your photo linked to an assassination in the United States. Your initial reaction?
Shock and horror.
Quickly, photos of Mallinson taken from his social media pages started to circle the internet. Even Grok, the AI chatbot on Elon Musk's X, alleged that Mallinson was likely the suspect arrested in the shooting. Mallinson has had legitimate concerns for his safety. The allegations from a fake account, another reminder of a growing lack of verified content on social media sites and the real-life consequences.
I'm just a quiet, normal guy, ordinary guy. I like to exercise. I go rowing in the morning and I come home and potter around the house. I have no need for any publicity, thank you very much.
Mallinson has contacted local authorities out of concern, and he's sharing his story in hopes of spreading factual reports that he has no association with the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
For people who don't know how this could have happened, it may sound like he was just picked completely at random, but there is a bit of an explanation. So after that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, initially, like at the actual scene, they arrested this like old man, this old guy, and they kind of dragged him out of the event, and a lot of people saw him and took pictures and everything else. He ended up, I think his name is like George Zinn or Zim. He ended up not being the person responsible, but for a little while, people weren't sure if he did or didn't do it. It seems like what someone did was took his photo and probably put it through some kind of online search tool that tried to find other photos of this person to try to identify him. And the man in Toronto, Michael Mallinson, the 77-year-old we just heard that enjoyed rowing in the mornings, he does look remarkably like the guy who was detained briefly at the scene of the Charlie Kirk assassination. And that is just horrible luck.
Yeah, it's scary to think that you could just be minding your own business, and then next thing you know, you're being accused of assassinating a political commentator figure, and being a very hated individual. All of a sudden you're getting death threats.
And it wasn't just him. It seems like what had happened. So some fake kind of mock Fox News type account on Twitter was the one who first put out this information saying, we've confirmed it to be Michael Mallinson. People then took that and found Michael Mallison's real Facebook account. They found who he was connected to, his family. And it was just like an all-out offensive on everyone associated with him that just lasted seems like a day or two is that this went on for. But man, that must have been horrifying. For him, if you're just this old guy who doesn't follow what's going on in the world, he has probably no idea this is going on until his daughter calls. Dad, go online and delete everything from all of your social media right now. Something is going on. And that was probably pretty good advice. Just shut the whole thing down at that point, because it's you're doomed. And I would be concerned for my safety if I was him, certainly.
Oh, very, yeah. And he's probably still not 100% safe. There's probably still people that believe that he had something to do with it.
Yeah. Well, it's already, we're only not even a week removed from this assassination having happened, and there are already so many kind of conspiracy theories and stuff spiraling. It's almost like the modern day JFK assassination, except it's happening so fast and right in, it's embedded into our social media, which is also how we find the news in most cases. So it's just kind of wild the way it's all happening here. But with this guy's case, it's just a shocking example of how the worst part of the internet can kind of mix with real life tragedy and affect people in unexpected ways.
Yeah. It's again, I just find it scary that you can not be looking for trouble, but trouble will find you.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. But fortunately, he was far removed from this event. If he had been if this had happened and this guy lived in the US or something, maybe it'd be a bit more scary. Luckily, he's far enough away in Canada that he's kind of out of the way. Yeah. But oddly enough, you would think it would be hard to find two weird Canadian news stories related to an actual real world horrific event. We have two. Listen to this one. This is I have no way to describe this. I'm literally speechless by this one. In a shocking twist to an already shocking story, a Toronto teacher has been suspended after allegedly showing some elementary school students video of American commentator Charlie Kirk being fatally shot. Here's the story of the Toronto teacher who was suspended for showing kids that video. Here it comes.
The principal at Corvette Junior Public School sent a letter home to parents on Friday saying kids in a grade 5/6 class were shown a portion of a video that is being described as a violent video after students asked about a recent tragic event in the United States. A spokesperson for the Toronto District School Board confirms the video mentioned in that letter was related to conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The letter says while an investigation must still be conducted to learn all of the details, the report of this incident is extremely troubling and completely unacceptable. According to the principal's letter, the staff member who showed the video was not the homeroom teacher, but was supervising the class. Well, the principal says the teacher in question has been relieved of all teaching duties and will not be at the school pending the results of the investigation. The school says it recognizes the seriousness of the situation and is offering support to children who may have been traumatized. And we were told that a social worker was on hand on Friday for students.
A teacher who was willing to show a grade 5 and 6 classroom anything of that video.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
It blows my mind, but
it says they were shown a portion of the video. I don't know what that means, but I think any of the video is inappropriate.
Yeah, I tried to avoid the video completely, but I was scrolling through TikTok, and then, when it was showing the moment that he had gotten shot right away on this TikTok that I saw,
Yeah.
So I didn't have
and
time
it just starts playing.
to work. Yeah, it just started playing. I didn't have time to scroll past it without seeing this close up of it and the thing that I was trying to avoid. And it was horrific. And I can't imagine showing that to young children.
Yeah, grade 5 and 6, that would be, you're talking about like 10 and 11-year-olds, little kids. This would be absolutely traumatizing. And as you heard in that clip there, the school knows that. They're bringing in social workers to offer up support for the children as they do an investigation. Reading between the lines to try to understand what happened here, I've connected a few dots. So first of all, it wasn't the kid's homeroom teacher. It was some other teacher. Some schools call them supply teachers, which are just kind of filling in when the homeroom teacher has other stuff going on. So it was a teacher that wasn't the children's main teacher. By the sounds of it, and reading this letter that the principal sent to the parents of these kids, of course, the Charlie Kirk murder was in the news, so the kids were asking the teacher about it. And maybe as her way or his or her way of explaining what happened, they felt it appropriate to maybe show a short moment of the video to like set the scene for what was happening or something. But even still, like, I don't see any reason why they would need to show that. If a group of like 10 and 11-year-olds asked you about this event, you could describe what happened or why it's in the news without actually being like, I'm just going to fire it up on my laptop here and I'll just put it on the big screen. Everyone sit down and like, check this out.
It's a one-strike policy, I think, with something like that.
Yeah, with kids, with the young kids.
It's horrible.
It's appalling. And Kirk, I think it raises a question of kids having access to this horrible kind of information on the internet. Of course, they're going to bring it to school and talk about it. It would be really hard as a teacher to handle stuff like that. And I guess that's why they probably get specialty training about how to handle these sensitive, traumatic topics. Like imagine if, the days after September 11th, it would have been similar situations, I guess, in classrooms. And I don't remember hearing about, some teacher who thought it appropriate to show videos of it over and over again in class.
Yeah, it was already, peppered all over the news, right? There's not really a need to show it in class, but you can still talk about it, but to show that, I don't agree with it, but that's life.
Yeah, as a parent with school-age kids, every so often you get a letter from the principal about some ridiculous thing happening in the school that they send a letter like this, like there was an incident where one kid, I remember there was a couple years ago we got a letter like that because some kid brought like a lighter to school and lit a fire in the bathroom, like in a garbage in the bathroom or something, and they had to send everyone a letter to like let them know what happened at the school. So when you get these letters from a school about an incident, there's always like some kind of crazy story there, and you never know what to expect. But if this was my kid's school, I never would have expected the principal had to write a letter because one of the teachers showed the Charlie Kirk video. Like, come on. What a world.
What a world, yeah.
Is this a weird Canadian news story, or is this just an awful decision by a teacher in Toronto?
That's probably more on the awful decision by a teacher in Toronto story, but still, it's our job to talk about these things.
Yeah, we have to. We didn't ask for this job. We were forced into this, right?
We were. Justin Trudeau, I think, was who.
Well, it was
strong-armed us into this, wasn't he?
Yeah, we did have a few letters signed by Trudeau, so I'm not sure who put us in this position, but 180 episodes later, we're still doing it. We've covered now, I would say easily thousands of weird Canadian stories, but I want to take a moment and revisit one from last week. You remember we talked about the fella in Hamilton who had all the security cameras. Mm-hmm. He was capturing videos of serial killers and robberies and home invasions and all sorts of things, yet the city was demanding he take down his cameras.
I remember it. Yes, I remember.
Yes. Well, a lot of listeners had opinions and theories and feedback on our coverage of that story. So like I did at the beginning with the collage about Aaron's banning, I'm going to present a collage that includes Jennifer and two guys named Steve. They want to talk all about those cameras in Hamilton.
Hello there, guys. This is Steve from Kentville. I feel bad for the guy having to get rid of his cameras. Hopefully they will exempt him from getting rid of all his cameras. He's doing a great job keeping the crime down in Hamilton. I used to live there. I don't anymore. So I've only lived there for 9 months, and that was enough for me.
Maybe the police are saying, yeah, show us all your camera coverage, but at the same time, maybe they're really don't want people to do that, because I've come from a town kind of like that, where they're like, yeah, show us everything, we're very transparent, but in reality they would rather everything to look great and not have to investigate as much stuff. And also maybe they would look better if there wasn't as much crime going on in their town. And with all this evidence, it's kind of harder to, I guess, brush it under the rug.
Hi guys, it's Steve from Simcoe, Ontario here. Just to give you a little background on the Hamilton anti-fortification bylaw, there was a time, might have been 20 years ago, when there was a problem with motorcycle clubhouses being equipped with a lot of video surveillance, etc. And at that time, the city was trying to get them shut down, and that's why the bylaw was passed. So it wasn't just a weird random thing. There was a particular purpose to it, which may or may not still be relevant. Hope that helps with your understanding.
Start with what Steve from Simcoe said. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole reading about this, and he's correct. This bylaw was put in force, it seems, as a way for Hamilton to deal with Hells Angels clubhouses. 20-ish years ago, when this bylaw came into force, it wasn't as common for people to have video cameras all over their property. But Hells Angels club, like the biker gang, their clubhouses had all these cameras that they would use to make sure the cops didn't show up. So as a way to try to make it uncomfortable for the Hells Angels to be in Hamilton, they were passing bylaws to basically force them out of there. And this is one of them. And that's pretty interesting, because when we covered this story, I was thinking, why do they have a need to have this bizarre bylaw? It doesn't make any sense. Now it kind of does.
It makes complete sense now. And yeah, that's but again, it's these laws don't really move with the times, as laws are very slow moving, technology is very fast, and then here you are, the conflict. So
yeah, where the Ring doorbells come and change everything. We heard from Steve at the beginning from Kentville. Steve spent some time in Hamilton, hated Hamilton, and left. Came back to Nova Scotia. I think that was a great decision, Steve. And then in the center, bookended by two Steves. We heard from Jennifer, who suggested the whole thing is just a cover up by the Hamilton police, who just don't want any evidence of crime because it makes it harder to cover up crime. Mm-hmm. Maybe all three have some truth to them.
Yeah, let's combine them all together, and that's the truth.
Yeah, we have a history lesson. Yeah. We have a personal anecdote about living in Hamilton, and then we have a conspiracy theorist. I like that. What do you think of the collage, like presenting feedback like that?
Yeah, I think it works. I think we should keep doing it.
Okay, because sometimes we get a lot of voicemails about a specific topic, and we can't just like do a ton of it. We can't just like include a lot of it about one topic in the regular weekly Weird News Roundup. But by doing it as a collage, I think that can work. Any listeners have feedback on how we should deal with feedback? If any listeners have feedback on how we deal with feedback, go to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and send a voicemail. Yeah. Maybe next week we'll have a collage on if the collage is the way to go.
Yeah, and then somebody can send us a collage of collages.
That could be good. Let's take our second and final break. When we get back, we're going to do one of my favorite segments. Seems that we do it almost every episode, and I'm going to call it Dumb Canadian Crime. We have two stories of dumb Canadian crime right after this break. And for anyone losing interest that's about to tune out, one of these stories are set in Newfoundland, and you know it's going to be weird when it's coming from Newfoundland. Handsome Aaron Airport, I know you're going to like this next story for three reasons. Reason number one, it's a dumb Canadian crime. That's always fun. Reason number two, it's set in Newfoundland, and every time we cover a Newfoundland story, it's just like an extra bit of strange weirdness. But the third one, this is actually a story that involves one of your favorite topics, banning.
Oh, yeah.
You and Mike are going to love this. The small town of Placentia, Newfoundland is heading into a mayoral election, but one with a bizarre twist. One of the only 2 candidates vying for the town's top spot was recently banned from Costco for shoplifting.
This is Bernie Power, shown here in 2019. And this is a document from Provincial Court in St. John's. It details an August 8th matter before Judge Bruce Short, in which there was a finding of guilt against Bernie Power.
The charge, theft under $5,000 against Power and a co-accused.
For stealing merchandise from Costco in St. John's on April 17th. Power received an absolute discharge, so no conviction and no criminal record. He was banned from Costco while the matter made its way through the legal process.
I tried repeatedly to get Bernie Power's side of the story, but after a brief telephone conversation in which he agreed to an interview, he stopped taking my calls.
Placentia is a town of about 3,300 residents. Annual budget north of $7 million, and Bernie Power is no stranger to this chamber. He served a term as mayor, but was defeated in 2021 by the outgoing mayor, Keith Pearson. He was also on the losing end of a mayoral race in 2013 when he lost by just 4 votes to the eventual winner, Wayne Power Jr. The two are not related. There's a separate vote for mayor in Placentia, and Bernie Power filed his nomination papers on Thursday.
The timing was right for me to run.
So did this man, local barber and Lions Club volunteer Jamie Neville. He's been trimming and tidying hairlines for 3 decades, served as deputy mayor in his 20s. Now that his children are grown, he's attempting a political comeback.
A lot of people used to always ask me to run for mayor.
Neville learned from the CBC that Power was found guilty of theft, but says that did not influence his decision to run, and takes the high road when asked about his opponent.
I know Bernie a lifetime. I know what he is, and I mean, he's done some great things for the area as well.
So who will occupy the top elected post in this town? Well, voters will get to make that decision on October 2nd.
That is a real news article, but that almost sounds fake. Something about that whole thing is a little like, it has like a bit of like, this hour has 22 minutes, Kids in the Hall, Saturday Night Live-ish to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this story. There's so many side characters that came in, and I had a hard time following it. Halfway through, I'm like, what's happening in this story? Like, what is the story? I was wondering.
Well, there's 2 people running for mayor. One was the mayor before, then he lost by 4 votes to somebody else. Now he's going to run again, but just before the election, he gets stopped. He gets caught shoplifting and found guilty of shoplifting from Costco. But he gets an absolute discharge, which I don't know if I've ever heard about that. That seems to mean like he doesn't actually get a conviction or a record of anything, but he is guilty of it.
It's not on his record, yeah.
That's a kind of a pretty good deal. All that to say, he's banned from Costco, whatever. The public now knows about this story. The other guy that's running against him is a barber who has nothing bad to say about the shoplifting possible mayoral candidate.
No, he had nothing bad to say. He's known him his whole life. But this Power guy, he really looks like a guy whose last name is Power. You know, you find he looks like just this thick source of energy. Do you find?
I don't know. To me, he looks like someone who would be kind of like a crooked mayor. He looks like someone you could bribe or something. And I think this idea of giving all the power of your city to the guy who recently got caught shoplifting from Costco, that just doesn't strike me as a good idea.
Yeah.
Who would you vote for? There's the guy banned from Costco or the barber?
It seems like the guy banned from Costco has more political experience.
Yeah, he was the mayor before, but the barber was like the deputy mayor or something, which I guess is kind of like an assistant or something.
I want to hear more about the story of the stealing.
Well,
like I want to know what the items were. I want to know what the context of it was, because there's got to be more to that story.
It was theft under $5,000. It was him and a co-accused, so he wasn't alone doing this.
Yeah.
I guess we almost got the story because he agreed initially to give an interview to this news outlet, CBC, but then, as the guy says using like the news voice, And then he stopped taking my calls.
I tried repeatedly to get Bernie Power's side of the story, but after a brief telephone conversation in which he agreed to an interview, he stopped taking my calls.
I was calling him 4 a.m. every night to try and get the scoop, and then he stopped taking my calls.
A pretty good threshold for who is fit to be mayor or not is whether or not you're allowed in Costco. And I think if you're not allowed in Costco, there's a good chance you won't make a great mayor.
But why would he steal from Costco?
Maybe he thought he could get away with it.
Is he a kleptomaniac?
If he was, do you want him to be mayor?
Well, if he's going to steal criminals and put them in jail.
Or steal like opportunity from other towns so that Placentia grows. How do you say it? Placentia.
Isn't that, you know?
When I hear the word Placentia, Newfoundland, I think of placentia. Is it not the organ like that a woman grows when she's pregnant?
The placenta?
Yeah. What's the difference between placenta and placentia, Newfoundland? I guess it's the chia.
Just the way it's pronounced and spelt, probably.
Yeah. But they're similar, right?
They're close, but they are different.
They are very different words. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. But, I mean, he could be stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Maybe he's handing out Kirkland brand granola bars to the homeless.
That's a good point. Or maybe he's donating it all to charity for a big fundraiser, something like a Ribfest.
Or something like a transition.
That was a transition. Our next story is, I'm just too excited. I got to move into it. I got to move on to it. It's the story about a charity Ribfest that went incredibly wrong and became a part of the Dumb Canadian Crime segment on Keep Canada Weird. What should have been a record-breaking year for a popular BC festival took a weird and frustrating turn. Police are investigating after someone allegedly 3D printed fake beer garden tokens at the Esquimalt Ribfest, costing the charity thousands. Here's the story that I call Grand Theft Ribfest.
Stealing from a children's charity would probably be right down there as low as you can get.
The Esquimalt Ribfest has been going strong for the past 13 years.
Ribs and beer are pretty integral parts of Esquimalt's fabric.
This year set attendance records.
Over the course of the weekend, we're 50,000 people.
That's reason to celebrate. Although this year, there was a hiccup in the beer gardens.
Like every festival, you sell tokens for drinks, right?
Plastic tokens like this one. Although as the event went on, one of the more than 300 volunteers made a discovery.
Nowadays, with 3D printing models and the plastic things you can make, somebody has taken one of those tokens and printed several hundred. We don't even know how many exactly yet.
Event organizers believe the scam has cost the charity upwards of $2,000. And for the Esquimalt Fire Department, that hurts.
For the firefighters here, this is their flagship event.
Donations at the door go towards various children's charities, which this year raised more than $90,000. Proceeds from the beer garden, where the scam took place, are being directed towards a new community project.
To put a turf field in an Esquimalt high school, so there'd be all-weather playing surface for kids in Esquimalt year-round.
Vic PD says it's investigating the incident.
Every festival around the world is going to have to be aware of this.
It's not all bad news, as there are some heroes in this story. Now that the fraud has been exposed, donors have come forward, looking to help the event recover its losses.
It's one of those Sasquatch heat pumps. They said they would write a check to cover our losses, but there's been a whole bunch of individual citizens as well.
The Esquimalt Ribfest is offering a cash reward of $500 to help find whoever is responsible for making the 3D printed tokens.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, it's a pretty organized situation in terms of, I mean, they need 3D printers.
Yeah, but if you look at during this news clip, many times they hold up an authentic token, which is like this green plastic coin that says Ribfest on it. They hold it up next to one of the fake 3D printed ones. Whatever 3D printer they had is a very crappy, cheap one because the coin that they made, it looks like crap. Like, it doesn't look right. It's all like weird lines through it. And even the text that say Ribfest, it's just like, it's not even like rendered properly. Looking at them immediately, I'm like, okay, that's the crappy 3D printed one. And they look awful. So I think whoever did this, I think it's like young people. I bet you it's someone who has a 3D printer and probably got it for Christmas last year, and they probably had one of the Ribfest coins from last year as well. And they're like, I could make some of these.
But how many of these could they make with one 3D printer?
Yeah, and
over like how long were they working at it? How many of these did they give out?
Yeah, well, in that clip we heard them say a couple hundred likely. And they said they're out thousands of dollars in ticket sales. But to run a 3D printer, like the plastic and stuff that it uses, the materials it uses, it's not that cheap, and it is time consuming. So it does seem like a lot of effort and risk of getting caught for very little reward. Like I wonder, like let's say if you have the 3D printer and you do this, you make a bunch of these fake coins. Do you sell them or give them away to your friends?
Unless if it is kids doing it,
you'd have to be 19 to get in there. So
yeah, maybe one of their parents like has a 3D printer for work or something and has the materials there and has a lot of it.
I could see that.
And they're like, well, my dad's got one and he's got all of this, stuff that you need to print these, and we can just use that. And it won't cost us anything. Because
like beer at a Ribfest in BC, like what would it be? Like probably $4 or $5 a beer?
I don't know.
But that seems, I don't drink beer. What would be a reasonable price?
I'd say at least, I mean, if I go to a restaurant or a bar, I'm paying $7 or $8 for a beer.
But you would think like an outdoor beer tent thing would be cheaper, would it not, than a bar or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Even if it was like $6 or $7 a beer or something. If it's $8 for an authentic ticket, I would only be buying the fake ticket if I was able to get it for like, $2 or something like that, or $3. If I was someone who was going to try to save money and get the beer from this beer tent. The person who's making these, if they're only getting $2 or $3 a token, a fake token, they can't be making much money, and there's risk. The police are investigating. This charity is offering a $500 reward. It's a dumb Canadian crime.
Well, it's like that famous quote from The Dark Knight. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
That's actually pretty suitable here because it seems like whoever did this, they're not getting much out of it and they're just causing harm to their own community, literally stealing from charity. And of all the things they're stealing beer, which just seems like it's extra trashy.
Yeah. These people are trash and their coins are trash.
Yeah, their coins were trash. It's what about this too? One other thought. Maybe you've gone to an event like this more recently than I have, but I remember like going to a beer garden kind of thing. You get like a little paper ticket. I don't think I've ever seen these like plastic coins or anything. Is that surprising?
I've never seen the plastic coin. No, I've seen tickets. Yeah, anytime there's like, it's usually beer tickets, but yeah, I don't know.
But they're like easy to rip off as well. I bet. Like if you went,
well, you just go to the dollar store and buy a roll of them, and then
it's hard for a company. It's like it's hard to protect yourself against people who seek to watch the world burn.
That's right.
We're getting near the end of this, but I do have one more trick up my sleeve.
Oh.
A while back, you called out for stories about a specific topic.
Yeah, stairs.
We got one. We got a stairs story coming in hot from PEI. This one is a very visual story because there's something you need to see to understand what makes this such a great stair story. I'll let Brittany tell her stair story from PEI, and then I'll do my best to explain exactly what she's describing. So get comfortable. We got another stair story. Here it comes.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. My name is Brittany. I'm from PEI. I'm calling in relation to weird stairs. Here on PEI, there's a company in Charlottetown called Campbell's Concrete that have a set of concrete stairs perched on top of a metal pole, and they've been there for 20 odd years. Just like those 3-4 step concrete stairs that you'd have like at the front of a house to like go up to the door. Anyways, yeah, not quite as weird as the stair stories on the pod, but still kind of a weird stair story, as it's just a set of like front step stairs on top of a pole.
That is a stair story.
Yeah, I love it.
This is what you've been asking.
Yeah, and it's forced me to use my imagination as well to picture what this bizarre art installation looks like.
Yeah, what it is, I actually went on Google Maps and everything to see this. It's a business, and kind of like how McDonald's has the arches. So on the side of the road, there's the pole with the big M. This business, what they have done is they have a big pole on the side of the road, and at the top of it is, as she described, just like 3 sets of stairs, one of those big concrete things that you would have like in front of your house that you'd walk up on and then get into your front door. I don't know how they managed to get that thing up on a pole. It looks ridiculous, but it's like it would catch your eye. And a good part of marketing is just capturing people's attention.
Yeah, no. Well, it has us talking, so it's obviously doing its job.
What was the name of the business? Campbell's Towing?
Yeah, it's weird that it's towing and they have stairs as their mascot.
Is it towing? Let me listen again.
Yeah, let's get to the bottom of this.
There's a company in Charlottetown called Campbell's Concrete.
Campbell's
So it's concrete stairs that they probably specialize in.
Yeah, so as you drive by and there's a set of concrete stairs 20 feet in the air, you're like, oh,
I want that.
I want those stairs. She says it's been up there 20 some odd years.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree with that. It has been 20 odd years have just passed.
Yeah.
If those stairs could talk, they would say it has been a weird time.
If the stairs could talk, they'd say, take me down from here, please. I was born to have someone walk up me, and no one can reach me.
It is sad.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Do you think we'll continue to get stair stories?
I hope so. It's really touching me where I've always wanted to be touched.
Yeah. It's just interesting because it's such a fringe, unique setting for an interesting story that's able to be played on a podcast. I just want to listen to the beginning because this intro wouldn't be appropriate for any other podcast on planet Earth, I don't believe. Listen.
I think so, yeah.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. My name is Brittany. I'm from PEI. I'm calling in relation to weird stairs. Here...
In relation to, it's very professional, you know.
Yeah.
I'm calling in regards to weird stairs.
Yeah. There are, I don't even know how many podcasts there are, seemingly hundreds of thousands, but there is only one, I think, that's been talking about weird stairs for the last 4 weeks.
And we didn't even really call out for weird stairs, just stair stories.
Yeah, I think the weird is a given. We want a story about stairs that makes you go, oh my God.
Really? I just want stories about stairs.
Really? I want unexpected stair stories.
Right. But I consider us to be the voice of the voiceless on this podcast, and stairs are voiceless, so we need to give them their voice.
Yeah, and these poor stairs on a pole on Prince Edward Island. I guess if you're going to be stuck on a pole somewhere, it might as well be on Prince Edward Island, a beautiful part of this country.
Yeah, but also, isn't everybody depressed there?
That's true. Yeah, there is an issue there.
According to statistics that we've read.
It is the most depressed province in Canada, according to that survey. But, you know, as someone myself, I don't live on Prince Edward Island, but I do visit as a tourist, and I'm always happy when I'm there. That said, I think living there, you know, outside of the summer months would probably be pretty bleak. So maybe that's a part of the problem. But we don't have time to figure out the social problems and the psychological problems playing out on Prince Edward Island because we've done our job here. We have to put a bow on this. We've kept Canada weird for our 180th episode. Fist bump, bud.
Yeah, there we go. Boom.
Boom. Anything else to say?
Let's wrap her up.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan Bust Up Backhoe Bonaparte. Until next time.
I always enjoy things that I add after the credits of the episode. Tonight I have a good one, so when you listen to the episode, Aaron, stay to the very end.
And Jordan, until next time, I always stay to the end.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. Now, if any one of you listening want to get more involved in what we're doing, we need all the correspondence we can get. So if something weird happens in your area, or if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at thecanadiangothic.com/contact. Now I'm going to start wrapping up the episode, but before we part, let us thank a few people. First of all, Aaron and I want to give a big thank you to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If your voice message was aired on the show, go back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the form to claim your swag pack and Keep Canada Weird badge. We'll happily get it right out to you. Next, a big shout out to Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, we have a massive thank you to every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this work would be impossible. And for any one of you out there who want to support the show financially and get more out of the show at the same time, please consider the premium feed. Our premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those episodes early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of Keep Canada Weird episodes and bonuses. You can go premium at thecanadiangothic.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing episodes on social media. That's free, and it's a big help. So until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and please keep Canada weird.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
Hey KCW, I'm a dog walker from British Columbia, and I often listen to your guys' podcast while driving around, picking up dogs or walking the dogs. And one of them had some feedback he would like me to share with you. So I'm going to hand the phone over to him. Is that all you want to add? Okay, well, I don't know if they can actually air that. That was kind of... Anyway, yeah, so that's all that Mando had to say to you guys. Keeping Canada weird. Appreciate you guys. Please pet your pets for me.
I tried repeatedly to get Bernie Power's side of the story, but after a brief telephone conversation in which he agreed to an interview, he stopped taking my calls.
I didn't think you can get a DUI on a Barbie truck. I think it's really hilarious. Like, it's funny. It's just, I gotta go to court though in December.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.